From age, race, sexual orientation, and gender identity, our state's diversity defines us, and we are united as proud citizens of Florida, but we are not recognized in the eyes of our Florida representation. When Rick Scott presents on CNN and says that Florida is an inclusive state, he is lying to you. When our Florida LGBTQ community asked for equal protection and equal unions under the law, our governor, Rick Scott, told us we did not deserve it, and he fought us. When our governor told the state that he would sign an executive order to protect diversity in employment, he specifically excluded the LGBTQ community. In a response to a lawsuit by the ACLU, our Attorney General, Pam Bondi, stated that our same-sex marriages would impose significant public harm. Rick Scott signed into law the Pastor Protection Act, which shields religious entities and individuals from any lawsuits should they refuse to administer same-sex marriages. Even though this is a right already afforded to them by the Constitution, Rick Scott wanted to make sure that the gay community knows that he does not consider us as equal men in his eyes. And even though the U.S. Department of Justice and the U.S. Department of Education have officially issued guidance on Title IX regarding compliance to schools receiving federal assistance, Rick Scott and Pam Bondi have so far ignored the call that would demand allowing our state's transgender students to exist in an environment that is free of discrimination. We educated our governor about violence directed towards us in our country and taught him that LGBTQ and race-related hate crimes make up over 75% of all hate crimes. Equality groups let the governor know that our community experienced violence at a much higher rate, and we asked for help, but Rick Scott ignored us. Instead of passing laws to help us on a dignified path to equality, he passed more pro-gun bills than any governor in the state of Florida. I can't help but wonder if Rick Scott would have spent less time, resources, and taxpayer money fighting our community and more helping and supporting our community, that Sunday morning's attacks may not have happened. I want to make it very clear that I'm not blaming Rick Scott for the attack, but I'm asking that he recognizes and takes accountability for supporting a culture of homophobia and intolerance in the state he is supposed to lead. This weekend, I heard Rick Scott call us an inclusive state. And together as citizens we are, but as a governor, he is not. Rick Scott, it is your legislation that has and continues to stigmatize the LGBTQ community. Rick Scott, it is your and Pam Bondi's philosophies that keep the impression alive that we should be treated as second-class citizens in the state of Florida. Rick Scott, we will not allow you to stigmatize the many peace-loving Muslims that call this state home. It is an insult to those who lost their lives and to those mourning their children, their siblings, their spouses, their lovers, and their friends for you to pretend that the victims' very real and very gay lives mattered to you when they were still with us. You have ignored our communities, and as your employer, we demand your apology and your representation. We love you, Eddie Sotomayor.